When I was 15, I picked up 2 babies on the road, thus began my life as a mother without the pain of childbirth. I never thought that after 5 years of toiling to raise them, my home would be stolen. Marquis Yong and Meng Zun surrounded our small courtyard, home to this mother and her 2 children, with his Meng army, and he demanded I hand over his kids. I spit on that. These babies I raised with blood, sweat and tears, how did they suddenly become his? His gaze swept across my shabby courtyard. And he said in a deep voice, "These children will only suffer with you. Name your terms, anything you want." I scratched my head. "You mean the little ones get to go to the Marquis Yongan mansion to live a life of luxury?" He nodded. "Delicacies fit for royalty, silks and satins, they shall want for nothing." At his answer, I spun on my heel and bolted, afraid to waste a single second. "Wait up, I'll pack my bags and come with you right now. Are you kidding? There's no way the kids live in bliss while their mother toils, this boundless wealth." Finally, it's my turn to get a piece of it. When Meng Zun ordered his men to surround my yard, I was heating oil in a wok to bake sesame seed cakes, to feed 2 kids. I worked 8 jobs a day, selling sesame cakes each morning was my main gig, if you could call it that. The 2 babies, a boy and a girl, were mostly well behaved, like Fugue, who was dutifully helping me knead dough right then. As for Jixiang, he was playing in chicken poop. "Jiang Jixiang," I let out a roar, "you little brat, disgusting. I'll tan your hide so good you'll wish you weren't born." I charged to the back door, grabbed a bamboo switch, and whacked his rear end hard. Fugue peeked out from the house, snickering behind her hand at her brother, only to smush a handful of flour all over her face. Jixiang wriggled in my grip like an earthworm, clutching his bottom and wailing non-stop, "Oh, Mama, I'm sorry. I'll never play in chicken poop again." You think I'd believe that? Just the mention of chicken poop made my blood boil. What goes on in a 5-year-old boy's head? Anyway, he only ever liked playing with the grossest stuff. Every time I had to wash his chicken poop stained shoes, I was so disgusted I wanted to throw them straight out, but we never had the money for new ones, so this time, I was determined to teach him a lesson he'd never forget. You're not sorry for a single second. When have you ever meant it when you said you were sorry? If you play in chicken poop again, I'll smear it all over your face. I cursed as I swatted him. Jixiang howled at the top of his lungs, not a single tear on his face. "Well, I'm really sorry. Mama, do you still love me? Jixiang will never play in chicken poop again." Wah, his words left me tongue-tied. I was about to lay into him some more when the courtyard gate slammed open. "How dare you, lay a hand on the young master." 2. Meng Zun marched in with his men right on his heels, staring at the horde of them. Jixiang and I exchanged a dumbfounded look. I asked, "What young master?" He pointed at himself, wide-eyed. Me." Meng army soldiers surrounded the yard inside and out. Fugue had never seen such a scene, and she scrambled over, dropping the dough in her hands to cling to my leg in terror. I stroked her head, soothing her softly. It's okay, Mama's here." My eyes drifted to Meng Zun's face, and the 8 points of similarity to Jixiang's features sent a chill down my spine. "It's just a coincidence," I told myself, trying to calm my nerves. Then I spoke up, my voice steady. "What proof do you have, Lord Marquis, that Jixiang and Fugue are your children?" He fell silent for a moment, then suddenly leaned in and whispered in my ear, "The boy has a mole on his left buttock, the girl, on her right." With that, he grabbed Jixiang and yanked down his pants. A pale, round little bottom popped out, marked with both the red welts from my switch and a black mole on his left cheek. Just as he'd said, Fugue clung to me even tighter at the sight. Meng Zun glanced at her, cleared his throat awkwardly. "Fear not. I shall not pull down the girl's pants." Then he lowered his gaze to me, his tone slow and deliberate. "And what proof do you have, young lady, that they are yours?" My brows furrowed so hard I could have crushed a mosquito between them. Proof? I had jack squat for proof. Jixiang and Fugue were the babies I'd picked up on the side of the road. After all, 3, when I was 15, my parents planned to sell me to the county magistrate as a concubine for 50 taels of silver. But that magistrate had lost more than a dozen concubines in just a few short years. They took the money anyway, and I ran off with it. Actually, I didn't just take the 50 taels. I cleaned out the house of every last copper coin before I fled. They treated me like a commodity, so I saw no reason to treat them like family. I ran all the way to the outskirts of the capital. I'd heard the capital was the most prosperous place in the land, and that women there ran their own businesses all the time. I'd wanted to try my luck there, but halfway there, on the outskirts of the city, I heard the sound of a baby crying. I kept walking. But the cry grew louder until I found 2 newborn babies. Left all alone, I took one look and turned to leave. In these times, minding your own business was the best way to stay alive. But that baby's cry wormed its way into my ears like a curse. The next second, I was back, a large bundle slung over my back. A baby in each arm. I sighed helplessly, talking myself down. Skip the husband. Get 2 kids, could be worse. Forget the capital. Then, I'll lay low in a small town, save up some money, and try again later. So I took the 2 babies to a tiny village in Jizhou, not far from where I'd found them. I spent a few taels to rent a small courtyard. Next door lived Sister Hua Hua, who sold tofu pudding. Funny enough, it was Sister Hua Hua's milk that Jixiang and Fugue drank to grow up. As for me, I sold sesame cakes each morning, washed dishes at a noodle shop at noon, and sewed by lamplight at night. Life with 2 kids was hard, but it was full of little joys. But as the kids grew older, they started asking all sorts of silly questions, like just a while ago, when Jixiang looked up at me and asked, "Mama, where's our daddy?" I'd answered him off the top of my head. What did I say, exactly? "For, Lord Marquis." A guard's shocked shout pulled me out of my memories. I looked up. Perfect. Jixiang had smacked his chicken poop-stained shoe straight into his father's face. "Bad guy. Don't you dare bully my mama." "Mama said my daddy's dead." Meng Zun slowly turned to look at me, his eyes darkening with anger. I scratched my cheek awkwardly, staring up at the sky. Oh right, that's what I'd said. But it wasn't my fault. How was I supposed to know their daddy was the Marquis Yongan? Meng Zun's voice was tight with suppressed rage, but he forced himself to speak calmly, bargaining with me. "These children will only suffer with you. Name your demands." "Anything." I scratched my head. "You mean the little ones get to go to the Marquis Yongan mansion to live a life of luxury?" He nodded. "Delicacies fit for royalty, silks and satins they shall want for nothing, anything at all. I keep my word." At his answer, I spun on my heel and bolted, afraid to waste a single second. "Wait up, I'll pack my bags and come with you right now. Kids can wait for sweetness, but a mother can't wait to stop suffering. Kids are young, they've got their whole lives to eat good food. Me, I'm 1 meal closer to the grave with every bite. There's no way the kids live in bliss while their mother toils. This boundless wealth, finally. It's my turn." Jiang Zhao, 5. Meng Zun was clearly caught off guard by my unexpected reaction. Fugue trotted after me like a little shadow. "Mama, I'll help you pack." Outside, Jixiang and his father stared each other down, wide-eyed. Holy smokes, my daddy's alive again. Meng Zun looked at his barely recognizable son and sighed, a headache coming on. Just as we were about to leave, Sister Hua Hua and Brother Dazhuang from next door showed up with all the villagers in tow. "Stop right there. You officials can't just snatch kids like this." "That's right. Picking on Zhao, one girl raising 2 kids alone. We're not gonna stand for it. Let Jixiang, Fugue, and Jiang Zhao go right now, or we'll report you to the county magistrate, to the capital." Meng Zun's face turned darker and darker. He truly couldn't understand why taking his own children home made him the bad guy. He ground his teeth, glaring at me. "Jiang Zhao, is it? You explain this to them, now." Then he lifted his long legs and stepped onto the carriage, slamming the door shut behind him. Watching the noisy crowd of villagers, my heart felt warm all over. Sister Hua Hua, Brother Dazhuang, uncles, aunties, everyone listened to me. This man inside is Jixiang and Fugue's real daddy. We're going to live a good life with their real daddy from now on. Grandma Wang frowned in confusion. "You mean that deadbeat dad's come back?" Uncle Tianyu scratched his head, confused. "Wait a minute, didn't Zhao's husband die?" "You fools," Sister Hua Hua said, dead serious. "He must have run off on her and the kids. And Zhao said he was dead out of spite." Aunt Zhong shook her head. "Deadbeat dads are no good. If he left you once, he'll do it again. But don't you worry, honey. We're all here for you. if you ever get hurt, just come home. They all chattered on, getting more and more worked up. I didn't stand a chance to get a word in edgewise. Meng Zun flung the carriage curtain open, his face livid, his voice half threat. If you don't want to leave, then stay. Me, whoa, we're leaving, we're going. Jixiang, Fugui, say goodbye to your uncles, aunties, grandpa and grandma. The two kids bowed solemnly to the crowd. Thank you all for taking care of us all these years. These were the kids everyone had watched grow up. After all, their little bows had all the villagers wiping away tears. Grow up well, Jixiang and Fugui, peace and health always. Obey your mama, and take her side when your parents argue. The carriage trundled further and further away, the villagers' figures shrinking to tiny dots on the horizon. Only then did the three of us dare to lower the curtain and huddle together, weeping bitterly. 6. Listening to the howling and wailing inside the carriage, Meng Zun's temples throbbed. He pulled a handkerchief from his pocket and tossed it at my face. Enough, wipe your tears. Jixiang dried his eyes at once, scurrying over to his father and tilting his little head to stare at him. So this is what my daddy looks like. I think I dreamed about you once. Meng Zun's heart stirred, and he lifted Jixiang onto his lap. Oh, did your daddy in the dream look just like me? Jixiang shook his head vigorously. Nope. My daddy in the dream was way better looking than you. Phut! I couldn't hold back a laugh at his deadpan expression. Meng Zun's face stiffened, and he shot me a sharp glare. His gaze fell on Fugui beside me, and his expression softened into a warm smile as he held out a hand to her. Your name is… He stumbled over the children's casual names, forcing the words out. Fugui, right, come here, let daddy hold you. Fugui looked up at me. I nodded at her, encouraging her forward. He's really your real daddy, sweetie. Don't be scared, he won't hurt you. Only then did she summon the courage to shuffle over to Meng Zun. He pulled her gently into his arms, his voice soft as silk with heartache. Little Fugui, I'm daddy. Fugui leaned quietly against his chest, saying little. I smiled, my eyes crinkling, and explained, they've always had different temperaments since they were babies. Jixiang's a little monkey, always bouncing about. And Fugui's slower to warm up, a gentle little thing. Meng Zun lowered his eyes to his daughter's small head, a smile tugging at his lips. For a girl, gentle is perfect. The atmosphere inside the carriage was warm and tender, perfect in every way, until Jixiang hopped down from his father's lap and spoke up. Mama, you let daddy hold you too. You always said since we were little that whatever we have, you have to have too, right? Daddy held us, he can't leave you out. Me. You little brat, stop talking nonsense. I clapped a hand over his mouth at once, my face flushing bright red. I glanced at Meng Zun almost instinctively, and my eyes met his dark, clear ink-black ones. 7. The carriage rocked gently, and the children soon fell fast asleep. I was drifting off too. When Meng Zun roused me, Jiang Zhao, I only allow them to call you Mama in private. I opened my eyes, a flicker of sadness pricking my heart, but I nodded in understanding. I get it. The Marquis's mansion isn't the countryside, there are far more rules here. I'm already infinitely grateful that you'll let me stay by their side. His eyes flicked lightly across my face, barely a glance. I'm sorry. I was a little surprised, and looked up at him with a smile. There's no need to apologize, they're your children. After all, he didn't look at me again, only lowering his head to stroke Fugui's soft hair gently. 8. After days of traveling, we finally reached the capital. The moment I stepped down from the carriage, holding Jixiang and Fugui's hands, an elderly lady burst out from the grand gate and clung to the two children tightly. Why, my precious grandchildren, why you poor things, you've suffered so much. A nanny beside her dabbed at her tears with a handkerchief, comforting her softly. It's all right, they're home now, safe and sound at last. Jixiang struggled wildly in the old lady's arms. Mama, save me. Meng Zun hurried forward to pull them apart. Mother, you'll smother the children. Free at last. The two little ones scrambled over to me and clung to my legs. The old lady's gaze locked onto me. And who might this be? Jixiang blinked up at her. This is my mama. Meng Zun stepped in to explain. 5 years ago, Miss Jiang Zhao found the two children and raised them alone. They've come to see her as their mother, so I brought her back to the mansion with them. He didn't get to finish his sentence. The old lady suddenly made to kneel before me. I was terrified. Dropping to my knees first with a thud. Please don't, you're so much older than me. What are you doing? She was surprisingly strong, hauling me to my feet and crushing me in a tight hug. For the first time, I understood the suffocating feeling Jixiang and Fugui had felt moments before. Thank you so much, Miss Jiang. You're our Meng family's greatest benefactor. If it weren't for you, I dare not imagine what would have become of Zhiheng and Jiyu. She pulled back, then took my face in her hands, studying me from left to right, her face lighting up with satisfaction. Such a pretty girl, and so kind-hearted too. Our Meng family must have accumulated 8 lifetimes of merit to meet someone like you. I was embarrassed by her lavish praise. Never in my life had I met someone so warm and enthusiastic. I looked to Meng Zun for help. He finally stepped in, guiding the old lady toward the mansion. All right, mother. We've all traveled a long way. We need to rest first. We'll dine together later, and you can talk as much as you want then. Okay, the old lady nodded repeatedly, her eyes glistening with tears as she looked at her 2 grandchildren, then nudged her chin at me insistently. Miss Jiang, make yourself at home. Don't hold back at all. If you need anything, just tell the servants. All right, thank you. I smiled and agreed. In that moment, I thought she was the kindest, most amiable old lady in the world. I never could have imagined she was also a crafty old thing with a bag full of tricks up her sleeve. 9. Meng Zun worried the children would struggle to adapt to life in the mansion, so he had the 3 of us settled in a single courtyard. This way, they could see me anytime they wanted, and it would ease their fears. As we walked into the courtyard, Jixiang and Fugui's eyes darted about, wide with wonder. The pavilions, the terraces, the lotus ponds, the winding corridors, everything was new and amazing to them. After all, even this small courtyard was several times larger than the little house we'd lived in before. Maids helped the children bathe, and for the first time in a long while, I felt truly relaxed. Finally, I could enjoy a moment of peace without the kids underfoot. As the sky grew dark, our weary little group finally finished freshening up. Jixiang and Fugui wore clothes made of the finest Shu brocade and Wu silk, and they looked every bit the children of a wealthy noble family. Just then, the old lady's nanny came to fetch us for dinner. I took the children's hands and walked with them to the old lady's courtyard, having her 2 precious grandchildren back. The old lady was over the moon, and she made me and Meng Zun drink quite a lot of wine with her. The children's formal given names had long since been registered in the family's genealogy. Meng Zhiheng and Meng Jiyu, Jixiang and Fugui were their childhood nicknames, kept just for family. Jixiang had a sweet tongue, and he called her grandmother over and over, making her beam with joy. Fugui received a pile of jewelry and trinkets, plus all the little dolls a little girl could ever want, and she timidly said, "Thank you, grandmother." The old lady was so moved she teared up, pulling her into her arms and kissing her chubby little cheeks repeatedly. Jixiang, Fugui, would you like to sleep with grandmother tonight? I have lots of storybooks, and I'll read you all the stories you want. Tilda. Jixiang nodded without a second thought. Yes, Tilda, grandmother's so nice. I want to sleep with you. Even Fugui agreed, shyly. Can I bring my tiger-headed doll with me? Oh, my precious grandbaby. Of course you can. The old lady stroked Fugui's little face, unable to get enough of her, then pushed a flagon of wine toward Meng Zun. Mother's in such a rare good mood today. Drink more. Meng Zun's hand froze mid-air as he picked up a vegetable, and he sighed, pouring another cup for himself resignedly. As for me, my drinking capacity, well, I won't brag. To put it plainly, 1 cup and I'm out cold. I passed out face down on the dinner table long before the meal was over. Jixiang and Fugui were already used to me sleeping on the table. Back home, when I drank with Sister Hua Hua, I'd pass out on the table all the time. It was always up to the 2 of them to clean the table for me, wash my face, and tuck me into bed, a whole one-stop service. But I was far too careless to realize this was the Marquis's mansion, not our shabby little courtyard in the countryside. 10. Sometime in the night, I stirred in my sleep, half conscious, when a warm, scorching breath fanned across my neck. W'n Niang. I jolted fully awake, my eyes flying open. Meng Zun was leaning over me, his brows furrowed, his face flushed bright red, pinning me to the bed. His mouth mumbled indistinctly, words I couldn't make out. Smack. I didn't hesitate for a second. I slapped him hard across the face, then followed it up with a flying kick, sending him crashing to the floor. Damn you, Meng Zun, look at who you're touching. Meng Zun hit the ground with a thud, and the fog in his head lifted a little. He stared at me, his eyes bloodshot. You're the damn Jiang Zhao. I clutched the quilt tightly to my chest, on high alert. Good, you know it. He pressed a hand to his throbbing forehead and apologized. I'm sorry. I'll leave at once. But he stumbled to the door only to find it locked tight. He banged on it hard, but no one answered from outside. I poked my head out to look, what's wrong, and watched as Meng Zun trundled back to me. Defeated, the door's locked, it's probably my mother's doing. Do you have any cold water here? I need to calm down. He braced himself against the table, his voice low and hoarse, his lips red as blood, his collarbones flushed pink too. I may not have had much experience in such matters, but I'd seen enough to know what was going on. Meng Zun was clearly drugged. I pointed hastily toward the screen. If you don't mind, my bath water's still there. I haven't poured it out yet. It should be cold by now. You have to hold on. Okay, if it's really too much, you'll have to take care of it yourself. I promise I'll cover my ears. He bit his lower lip hard, and with no other choice. He strode quickly behind the screen and plunged headfirst into the water. A loud splash echoed through the room, and then, sudden, eerie silence. 11. Meng Zun, are you okay? Worried he'd drop dead in my room, I asked politely, just to be safe. His voice came back, much calmer now, with a hint of laziness. I'm fine. Not dead yet. This might be a little forward, but, who is WN Niang? In the quiet of the night, my curiosity burned bright, an insatiable fire. My late wife. He replied, his voice flat and emotionless. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I silently slapped myself. Stupid me, why did I have to poke at his sore spot like that? I'd heard that the Marquis Yong'an's wife had died from a massive hemorrhage after giving birth to the twins, but it had been more than 5 years now, and Meng Zun still thought of her. He was truly a man of great loyalty and affection. Jixiang and Fu Guei were lucky to have a real father like him. No need to apologize, Miss Jiang. WN Niang has been gone for many years. I've long since come to terms with it. One must look forward in life. Speaking of which, I'm the one to blame for scaring you today. I let my guard down with mother. He soaked in the wooden tub, his voice slow and unhurried. Old madam. Confusion clouded my mind. What did this have to do with her? After WN Niang passed, mother has always wanted me to remarry. Then Jixiang and Fu Guei went missing, and she wept every day, growing even more determined to find me a new wife. But I only wanted to find my children, so I spread rumors in the capital that I was cursed to bring misfortune to my wives. No decent family in the capital dared to marry their daughter to me after that. It's been so long. I thought mother had let the idea go. I never expected she'd set her sights on you. I fell silent, finally choking out a sentence. That old lady is really crafty. A low chuckle escaped his lips. Jiang Zhao. You're quite bold, daring to curse the old lady of the Marquis's mansion. TCH. I pulled the quilt over me and rolled over. So what? Your young master son has been spanked by me since he was a toddler anyway. Jixiang was such a little hellion when he was small. I wonder who he takes after. You have no idea. He once lit a candle and burned his clothes, then snuck and threw them at Sister Huahua's house next door. She caught him red-handed and sent him right back to me. One New Year, he snuck a firecracker and threw it into Brother Dazhuang's pigsty. The whole sty erupted in chaos, the pigs running amok everywhere. It made the whole village spend the New Year helping to round up the pigs. And there's more. I rambled on, recounting all of Jixiang's childhood crimes one by one. Meng Zun listened quietly from the tub, a soft laugh escaping him every now and then. By the fourth watch of the night, I finally couldn't keep my eyes open and drifted off to sleep. 12. The next day, I was woken by Jixiang banging on the door. Daddy, Mama, shame on you. The sun's already high in the sky. Fu Guei hurried to stop her brother, her voice soft and gentle. Jixiang Tilda grandmother said Daddy and Mama are making us little brothers and sisters. We can't disturb them. Jixiang waved her off, banging on the door even louder, shouting at the top of his lungs. Or, Fugue, grandmother also said making little brothers and sisters is something you do at night. It's almost noon now, Daddy. Mama, open the door quickly. Behind the two children, the old lady covered her mouth and snickered. When the commotion had spread for all to hear, she shot the nanny a look, signaling her to unlock the door. I poked my head out from under the quilt, my hair a bird's nest, and my eyes met Meng Zun's, who was sleeping on the daybed. Bro, can you control your son? He rolled his stiff neck, his voice gruff. Not sure who raised him to be like this. My eyes widened in outrage. Meng Zun. Are you blaming me? I did an amazing job raising him to be this chubby and healthy all by myself. He added a cheeky jab. True, all the pigs at Brother Dazhuang's place are chubby and healthy too. I didn't hesitate to grab a pillow from the bed and hurl it at him. Are you crazy, comparing your own son to a pig? Just then, the old lady pushed the door open, leading the two children in. Look at you two lovebirds, bickering and flirting bright and early in the morning. The children didn't hesitate for a second, pouncing onto my bed. Mama Tilda, I missed you so much. Fugue nuzzled her little head into my waist, nearly messing up her cute double bun hairstyle. My heart melted into a puddle, and I bent down to kiss her forehead. Good girl, Mama will sleep with you tonight. Jixiang rolled around on my bed, yelling as he did, Mama, I want to sleep with you too. This bed's so big, Daddy and Mama can sleep with me and Fugue too. Before I could open my mouth to scold him, the old lady took my hand with a smile. Zhao, I know this is hard for you. Don't worry, Mother will make Axon give you a proper status, a genuine marriage with all the proper rights. I smiled awkwardly. Old madam, nothing happened between Meng Zun and me, there's no need for this. Or, Zhao, the whole mansion knows you and Axon were alone together in this room all night. Axon has to take responsibility for you, otherwise it'll ruin your reputation. She said it with a serious tone, but her smile was clearly from ear to ear. I couldn't hold back a retort. If my reputation's ruined, it's all you're doing, old madam. At that, her laughter grew even heartier. Ha ha ha, Zhao, I love your honest nature. Become the Marquis's wife. And Jixiang and Fugue can call you Mama openly and proudly. Isn't that wonderful? I shook my head. It's enough that they see me as their mother in their hearts. There's no need for a marriage, the old lady went on. Besides, I'll give you 50 taels a month for pocket money, and all these jewels and ornaments will be yours too. As soon as she finished speaking, the nanny led the servants in, carrying several large chests. Inside were not only piles of gold ingots, but also priceless jewelry, pearls, agate, jade, and more. My eyes were glued to the chests, and I wiped the imaginary drool from the corner of my mouth. But then again, 13 girls, it's not that I'm greedy. It's just that the old lady offered far too much. Once, my parents tried to sell me as a concubine for just 50 taels of silver. Now the old lady was giving me 50 taels a month for pocket money, and I could become the glorious Marquis's wife, with Jixiang and Fugue by my side every day. It was a win no matter how I looked at it. So as soon as I agreed, the old lady sprang into action and arranged our marriage in a flash. I left from the old lady's younger brother's house for the wedding, the proper custom for a bride with no family of her own. In less than 3 days, Meng Zun and I were sitting face to face on the wedding bed, staring at each other. Hey, you're getting married today too, what a coincidence. I finally broke the awkward silence. Meng Zun looked at me like I was a fool. Seeing me sitting prim and proper, putting on the act of a well-bred young lady, he curled his lip. All right, stop pretending. I punched him playfully in the chest, a little too hard, sending him tumbling off the bed. Oh my God, are you okay? If you're fine, just sleep on the floor. It's summer, the floor's cool anyway. With that, I tossed a quilt over him, then took off the messy array of ornaments on my head and set them down next to the pillow. Wrapping myself in another quilt, I rolled to the innermost side of the bed, terrified he might have any improper intentions toward me. He glowered at me, his voice fierce. Jiang Zhao, you're the one who agreed to this marriage. I poked my head out. But you didn't refuse either. That means you think I'm not that bad. Meeting my sincere, clear eyes, he quickly lowered his gaze to avoid mine. Then he stammered, I couldn't say no to mother. And for Jixiang and Fugue's sake, they can't live without you. I rolled over impatiently. Yeah, I get it. Go to sleep already. I'm exhausted from all the fuss today. Jiang Zhao, I'm being serious with you. Sure you are. I believe you. Jiang Zhao, yeah, also, save me some space on the bed tomorrow morning. I'm afraid mother will send someone to check. Okay, Jiang Zhao, through gritted teeth. Spit it out. I'd only known Meng Zun for 5 days. But I'd already figured out his awkward, blustery personality. Dealing with a man like him was a piece of cake, effortless. 14. Meng Zun sent Jixiang and Fugue to the academy to start their schooling. I spent my days with the old lady, living a leisurely life of planting flowers, raising fish, and playing with cats, but the 2 little ones loved the sesame seed cakes I baked more than anything, so I made them a taste of Mama's cooking every now and then. As for Meng Zun, naturally, we kept a polite distance from each other. We got along surprisingly well, except for our daily argument over who had to sleep on the floor. I swear, I'd never been so relaxed and carefree in my life. But one day after school, Jixiang stumbled out of the academy with a black eye and a swollen face, and Fugue ran over to me, crying her eyes out. In that moment, an invisible fire of anger blazed in my heart. I squatted down, grabbed the 2 children's arms, and asked through gritted teeth, "Who did this?" Jixiang clenched his jaw, stubbornly refusing to speak. Fugue sobbed in my arms, her voice full of grievance. "Mama, woo-woo. Some kids at the academy said we're fatherless wild children with no mother. Said you're not our real mama, woo-woo." My heart ached, and I picked her up in my arms, wiping away her tears. "Don't cry, baby. Daddy and Mama will have your backs." By now, all the other children from the academy had been picked up by their families. Even if I wanted to go demand an explanation, I'd have to wait for another time. So I had no choice but to take Jixiang's hand and get into the carriage back to the mansion first. "Mama, are you really not our real Mama?" Fugue looked at me, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. Jixiang crossed his arms like a little adult. "Fugue, grow up a little. So what if she's not our real Mama? Mama raised us all by herself, working so hard since we were babies. She's even better than a real Mama." Fugue waved her hands hastily. "Brother, that's not what I meant." Then she burst into tears again. "I'm just scared that Mama will leave us, woo-woo." Her words made my eyes red too, and I hugged the 2 children tightly. "How could Mama leave you? Mama loves you 2 the most in the whole world." Jixiang tilted his head up and asked, "More than Daddy?" My sad mood vanished in an instant, and I rolled my eyes at him. "Don't spout nonsense while I'm trying to bond with my kids." Ever since I picked up the 2 children, I'd never thought about investigating their background. I'd never told them they weren't my biological children either. I'd only made a silent promise to myself. Since I'd picked them up, I'd raise them as my own. But now that the children were growing up, maybe it was time to tell them the truth. 15. Back at the mansion, the old lady was shocked to see Jixiang covered in bruises and Fugue with tear-streaked cheeks. "Oh my goodness. Which damned rascal did this to my precious grandchildren?" Coincidentally, Meng Zun also returned home from handling official business at that moment, his face unusually serious. "Jixiang, Fugue, tell Daddy who bullied you." The little tough guy who'd put on a brave face in front of me burst into tears instantly. "Daddy, the kids from Minister Wang's family, the Minister of Justice's family, and Grand Tutor Xie's family all bullied us, woo-woo. Only the sister from Grand Protector Liu's family stood up for us, woo-woo. They called me and Fugue motherless wild children, woo-woo." Seeing her brother cry so hard, Fugue refused to be outdone and started crying too. The little girl's lower lip trembled, her tears falling like pear blossoms in the rain, sniffling as if she'd suffered the greatest grievance in the world. "They also said Mama's from the countryside, and she doesn't deserve Daddy at all, woo-woo." At those words, the old madam and Meng Zun finally lost their patience. The Meng family had always been fiercely protective of their own. Each scooped up a child and charged out of the mansion. "Let's go, grandmother and Daddy will avenge you." I hitched up my skirt and chased after them frantically. "Wait for me, hey!" At Minister Wang's mansion, the Wang family was in the middle of dinner when they suddenly saw Marquis Yong'an burst through the door with the old madam. each carrying a child. Minister Wang's youngest son pointed at Jixiang and said, "Why is that wild child in our house?" Meng Zun set Jixiang down, then lifted the boy up and brought him before Jixiang. "Go on, hit him back exactly how he hit you. Daddy's here, no adult dares interfere." The old madam also set Fugue down. "Sweetheart, go slap him twice. Do it for your brother." Cold sweat broke out on Minister Wang's forehead. "Marquis, what is this about? Children are ignorant, their words are just playful nonsense." Meng Zun glanced meaningfully at Minister Wang's wife, Jixiang. "This boy's mother killed her own elder sister to marry into the Wang family. His mother is a murderer." Madam Wang's face turned deathly pale. "You," the old madam let out a cold snort, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "Children are ignorant. Their words are just playful nonsense. You must not take it to heart." Now, by then, Jixiang had already pinned Minister Wang's youngest son to the ground and was roughing him up. "How dare you mar my handsome face? If Mama hadn't said we're new to the capital and shouldn't cause trouble, I'd have beaten you to a pulp long ago." Fugue also snuck forward and kicked the boy twice. "That's right, no one in the village can beat brother." I stared in stunned silence when Meng Zun suddenly pulled me forward. "You all attended my wedding. How is it you cannot even recognize the Marquis's wife?" The old madam chimed in from the side. "Forgot to mention, Jiang Zhao is now Princess Yunhua, adopted under the Empress Dowager's name. Anyone who looks down on her birth is surely looking down on the Empress Dowager herself." "Wait a minute, I'm Princess Yunhua. When did that happen?" I shot the old madam a confused look. She nodded firmly at me. At those words, Minister Wang panicked instantly. Kicking his wife hard, "What have you taught Lina? Hurry and apologize to the Marquis Yong'an and his family." Madam Wang fell to the ground, but scrambled to her knees, trembling. "Marquis, Madam, old madam, it is all this concubine's fault for failing to teach my son well. I beg the Marquis to have mercy and not blame him." Minister Wang also fawned and smiled incessantly. "Your subject will teach this worthless son of mine a strict lesson from now on." Meng Zun lowered his eyes to me. "Whether to forgive them or not, it is up to my wife." I lifted my head slightly, meeting his meaningful gaze, and felt my ears grow burning hot. Before I could reply, Jixiang clapped his hands and stood up, grinning brightly. "Daddy, I'm done. Let's go on to the next house." 16. Our little family of 5 repeated the exact same act, causing a huge commotion at the Minister of Justice's mansion and Grand Tutor Xie's mansion too. The Minister of Justice was reasonable, upon hearing the whole story. He immediately ordered the family punishment and beat his son soundly. Only Grand Tutor Xie shouted and ranted, threatening to report us to the Emperor, but Meng Zun was just as stubborn. Without another word, the 2 men headed to the palace. Regrettably for Grand Tutor Xie, the border had recently been in unrest, and the Emperor was relying on Meng Zun heavily, so Grand Tutor Xie was reprimanded, and even his beloved son was punished to a half-month seclusion, after a whole night of busy work. We'd all won a great victory, and now gathered together to enjoy a delicious dinner in high spirits. "My daddy is so awesome. Mama, did you see? I beat Wang Guangyao and Xie Xian both to the ground." Jixiang stood on his chair, preening and swaggering triumphantly. The old madam picked up a piece of meat for him. "Of course he is. No descendant of the Meng family is a coward." Fugue tugged at my sleeve and asked quietly, "Mama, what's a coward?" I curved my lips and said, "It's someone who's timid and afraid to stand up for what's right." She scratched her head embarrassedly. "Oh no, I think I'm a coward. Then I want to take Mama's surname instead." Her words sent everyone present into peals of laughter. I laughed until tears came to my eyes, wiping them as I asked, "By the way, Mother, what's this about Princess Yunhua?" The old madam's face was filled with pride. "The Empress Dowager is my own younger sister. Getting you the title of princess is a piece of cake for her." I knew well that she'd gone to beg her own sister specially, worried I'd be bullied in the capital. A warm wave of gratitude washed over my heart, and I immediately started buttering her up. "Wow, Tilda, Mother is so amazing. It looks like I can walk tall in the capital from now on." She smiled and said, "You bet, my daughter-in-law, even if you crawled on the ground, no one would dare say a single word about you." Seeing his mother's words getting more and more outrageous, Meng Zun hurried to interrupt. All right, mother, only a tortoise crawls on the ground. Shut up, the old madam and I said in perfect unison. Meng Zun shrugged helplessly. Fine, fine, you two are thick as thieves, I can't win an argument against you both. But I saw the emperor today, he ordered me to head to Morbay in a month's time. A hint of gravity flashed in the old madam's eyes. Another war, Meng Zun nodded. Jixiang clambered into his father's arms and tilted his head up. Is daddy going to be a great hero? Meng Zun ruffled his hair. Why do you say that? Jixiang's little face was full of earnestness. Mama said all the soldiers on the battlefield are great heroes, they protect our home. Meng Zun only shot me a surprised glance. That night, as he lay on the floor, he murmured quietly, more to himself, Jiang Zhao, you've really raised the children so well. I lay on my side and chatted with him. Of course I have. War, it'll be very dangerous, won't it? He raised an eyebrow. Why, are you worried about me? I feigned a tender, loving gaze, even blowing him a kiss. Of course I am. I don't want to be a widow. Woo-woo tilde. Immediately, a pillow smacked me square on the forehead. You hypocritical woman. 17. In the month before Meng Zun was to leave for Morbay, the two of us surprisingly bickered very little. He took me and the children all over the capital. Our little family of 5 even went to the temple together to pray for blessings. For Jixiang and Fugue's sake, I specially prayed for a peace talisman and a blessed peace buckle for Meng Zun, hoping he would return safely. I didn't want Jixiang and Fugue to live without a father ever again. On the day of his departure, Meng Zun stroked the peace buckle with his thumb, a smile spreading in his eyes. He suddenly grabbed my arm and pulled me tightly into his arms. After a long while, I heard his warm, gentle voice. Wait for me to come back. My heart thundered wildly in my chest, and I awkwardly punched him in the stomach. Ouch, are you trying to murder your own husband? Jiang Zhao, not caring about my burning red cheeks, I put on a fierce face and threatened him. You'd better come back, if you don't, I'll remarry someone else. Jixiang and Fugue both covered their eyes. Eu tilde daddy and mama are being silly and shy. The old madam stood by, watching us with a smile in her eyes, and urged. Axon, take good care of yourself. Meng Zun kissed the 2 children hard on the cheeks, then swung himself onto his horse. Don't worry, I suddenly thought of something, darted back to the small kitchen, and ran out holding a bag of sesame cakes. Wait, I just baked these sesame cakes, take them with you for the road. He reached out and took the bag, curving his lips into a smile. Thank you. 18. The war only lasted half a year. Mother said the unrest in Morbay was not serious. And with Meng Zun's ability, it would be an easy victory. During that time, I also received letters from Meng Zun. Over the past half year, I'd learned quite a few characters by studying with Jixiang and Fugue. Sometimes the letter would read, Jiang Zhao, I miss the sesame cakes you bake. I raised an eyebrow. Knew no one could resist my sesame cakes. Sometimes it would read, Jiang Zhao, I miss the children, and I miss you too. I immediately took the letter to show the old madam. Mother, look. He doesn't even mention you in his heart. When he comes back, we'll beat him up together. She only smiled and tapped my forehead. You silly girl. So slow on the uptake. Jixiang and Fugue missed their daddy terribly too. They pestered me all day long, asking, Mama, when will daddy come home? Every time, I'd say, soon, very soon. When spring returned to the earth, and the ice and snow melted away, Meng Zun should be coming home. Yet when the Meng army triumphantly returned to the capital, news of Meng Zun's death suddenly arrived. His men had ridden several fast horses to their deaths to bring the news back. Your servant deserves death. The Marquis was ambushed by spies as we traveled back to the capital together. And he fell off a cliff. We only managed to recover the item he carried with him at all times. He held out his palm, and in it lay the peace buckle I'd prayed for Meng Zun, only it was stained with blood. At the news, the old madam was so overcome with grief and anger that she fainted. The servants hurried to help her lie down on the bed. I took the peace buckle, but a faint feeling in my heart told me Meng Zun was not dead. Did you find his body? The man shook his head. Not yet, madam. I said in a calm, firm voice, keep looking. I want to see him alive or find his body. 19. I couldn't bear to tell Jixiang and Fugui the news of Mengzun's accident. During the new year, the old madam and I acted as if nothing had happened, accompanying the children to set off firecrackers. This was supposed to be our first new year as a family of 5. I never thought we'd be missing one Mengzun. The entire mansion kept the news a closely guarded secret. But it was only a matter of time before the children had to go back to the academy. 3 months after Mengzun's accident, Jixiang and Fugui ran back from the academy, crying their hearts out. "Mama, they said Daddy is dead, he'll never come back again." Woo-woo tilde. I lifted both children up in one arm. "Why do you two keep listening to nonsense from other people? Your daddy is just delayed on the road. How could he be dead?" At my words, Jixiang immediately wiped his tears clean. "Mama, I'm so stupid, I got tricked again." But Fugui sensed the change in my mood, and patted my back with her small hands to comfort me. "It's okay, Mama, we'll wait for Daddy to come back together." Tears pricked at my eyes, and I nodded hard, but I never expected the old madam to be the first to lose patience. "Zhao, you're still young, Mother knows you and Axon never shared a room. Why not look for a strong, young man instead? There's really no need to waste your life waiting for Axon alone. Mother treats you like her own daughter. If it comes to it, how about we take in a son-in-law to live with us?" I stared at her in shock. "Mother, is that even a human thing to say?" She shot me a glance. "You silly girl, Mother's only saying what's true. Axon didn't have the fortune to be your husband. But I raised Axon all by myself for all these years. I know better than anyone how hard it is to be a widow. I can't bear to watch you waste your youth like this. I need to go check out all the eligible young men in the capital for you." The more she spoke, the more she liked the idea, her eyes lighting up. "I heard the new top scholar is only 25 this year. Incredibly talented, he'd be a perfect match for you. Mother will fix a meeting for you too, so you can get to know each other." She didn't wait for my reply, bustling off to make arrangements all on her own. 20. "Mother, I really don't want to go. Axon will come back." A few days later, the old madam dragged me onto the carriage by force, off to a blind date. Being forced to go on a blind date by one's own mother-in-law, surely this was a first in the capital. "Zhao, be reasonable. Mother's only doing this for your own good. Just go take a look. If you like him, Mother will write you a divorce letter at once. If not, Mother will keep looking for someone else for you. As for Axon," she paused, wiping a tear from her eye. "Axon just didn't have the luck. I've already lost one son. I can't watch my daughter be unhappy too." Seeing her earnest gaze, I had no choice but to give in. I'd go meet the man to please the elder, and just explain clearly to him that I had no intention of remarrying. In this life, I would only stay in the Marquis Yongan mansion, guarding the 2 children and Mother. We arrived at the private room, and the new top scholar Mother had spoken of was already waiting there for a long while. He had features as gentle as jade, the scroll of books tucked in his hands. When he saw me enter, he bowed slightly to me. "Greetings, Princess Yunhua. No need for such formalities." I smiled at him. I was just about to explain to him that I had no desire to marry when a commotion suddenly broke out at the door of the private room. I turned my head instinctively, and a tall, slender figure slammed the door open. "Jiang Zhao, I'm not dead yet." His voice was filled with utter grievance. Who else could it be but Mengzun? Tears instantly welled up in my eyes, my voice thick with sobs. "Mengzun, I told you, if you didn't come back, I'd remarry someone else." The next second, I was pulled into the man's arms. "I'm back, I'm right here. Don't smile at anyone else." The new top scholar stood to the side, watching us with a smile. "It seems true lovers are meant to be together. I shall take my leave and not intrude any longer." I shot him an apologetic look. "I'm sorry for wasting your time." 21. Back at the mansion, Mengzun gave the old madam a thorough scolding for a full hour. "How could you be such a mother, setting up a blind date for your own daughter-in-law? If I hadn't made it back in time today, would you have brought him straight into the mansion tomorrow? Mother, you're simply unreasonable." The old madam twisted her fingers awkwardly, looking wronged. "I just thought." "Thought what? A fool lives 1,000 years. Your son is blessed with a long life. Can't you stop thinking such silly things?" My head ached from their bickering, so I cut in at the right moment. "Enough, anyone would have thought the worst with what happened to you. Who would have known you were crazy enough to climb down to pick a snow lotus and fell off the cliff for it, then got rescued by kind people and taken in to recover for all this time? I'd listened to his story on the carriage all the way back. Meng Zun hadn't been harmed by the spies at all. He'd killed the spy long ago and thrown his body off the cliff. By a strange coincidence, he'd spotted a rare snow lotus growing on the cliff edge and wanted to pick it for me, which was how he'd slipped and fallen. The village where the kind family lived was remote and hard to find, which was why his men had never been able to track him down. Meng Zun pouted like a child. I just wanted to show you a flower unique to Morbay. I rolled my eyes at him. Well, where is the flower then? He looked at me earnestly. From now on, I'll take you to see them in person. I touched my slightly burning cheeks, pretending to be indifferent. Who'd want to go see them with you? Just then, the children arrived back from the academy in the mansion's carriage. When they saw Meng Zun, they threw themselves at him in ecstasy. Daddy, 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 you're finally back. We missed you so much. Fugue even shed a few quiet tears, sniffling. Daddy, don't go away for so long ever again. Okay, Meng Zun pinched her chubby little cheek gently. Okay, whatever little Fugue says goes. Jixiang patted his father's shoulder, putting on a mature air. Really, you had everyone so worried, but it's okay. From now on, our family will be together forever. Meng Zun turned his head to look at me, his eyes soft and warm, filled with endless affection. Okay, we'll be together forever.